Why not use a converter for the Xbox Fight Stick? Already answered that on this very podcast. Converters, they're not perfect. They add tons of input lag. They're not even tournament approved because they have issues. I'm not using a converter because it would just make it harder. Imagine, oh, I can now use my Xbox joystick on PS5, but now all my moves are even more delayed online. That sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. It's very stupid. Lavinia says the mini PC will 100% play modern games. It meets all spec requirements of Elden Ring. My full-size PC has a terabyte. That's not a small amount. It doesn't have a graphics card. What are you talking about? It has what's considered onboard graphics. They're very low end. They're not good at all. In fact, someone did a comparison. My graphics card in my PC, no exaggeration, is like 4 times better than the graphics in that mini PC. It doesn't have a dedicated graphics card. It's the onboard graphics. How would I play Elden Ring on it? Yeah, maybe at ultra low settings, 10 frames per second maybe. And then it overloads and overheats within an hour maybe. Like, what are people getting these weird notions from? It's very odd. It's not tournament legal at EVO. There's only one converter allowed at EVO, and even that adds significant input lag, but people are doing it if they can't afford another joystick. Would you like me to reiterate everything I said on the podcast specifically for you? She takes them both out, boom, because you showed up late, and now you want to ask the same questions that I already completely answered sufficiently earlier in the show. In fact, how about this? We'll have a special show just for you. It's the Level 1 podcast just for the latecomer who wants to second guess and ask me questions I already answered earlier to try to make me like a gotcha moment on my podcast, all right? So here we go. We'll just start over completely. In fact, you know what? Here we go. Just for this person who showed up late and wants to ask the same questions I've already answered, we'll do this. You ready? Here we go. All right, we're not doing that. Let's continue. What else do you guys want to talk about today? Lavinia. Oh my God, Lavinia. You're doing it too. Did I literally not do a segment explaining that mini PC has no ventilation whatsoever? There's no fan or cooling. So even though it might play a 3D game, it's not meant to do that because it will overheat. AMD processors are meant to overheat. They're not good. They're not like Intel processors with a cooling solution. This thing is going to overheat. Okay, hold on. Let's do it again. Here we go. This one is for Lavinia. Ready? Here we go, everyone. Welcome to the show. All right. Are we good now? Are we good now? Can we now move on to the things I already explained earlier? Will I eventually play Chrono Cross? I have no idea because I don't know anything about Chrono Cross. Expand Dong, here's the thing. It's not that you can't come to my podcast and ask questions and you weren't here earlier. It's that you literally come to the podcast and your question is like, well, Phil, you're completely wrong on this topic because here's something that I know, but I've already addressed it earlier in the show. Right? We already had a segment about the joystick adapter and how it won't work. It adds input lag. You wouldn't want to do that for a competitive gameplay, especially when you're playing online where you already have input lag. You don't want any added input lag. We already talked about how that mini PC, although it may actually be able to play 3D games, is not meant to do that because it has no cooling solution. Therefore, it overheats. You'll probably play for an hour any 3D game. The whole thing will be fucking white hot and melt down and shut down. You don't want to do that. So we've already answered those. So why do I have to completely halt everything to answer your questions we already addressed earlier, right? Lavinia says it will not overheat like that. Okay, Lavinia, can I ask you a question? I'm going to ask you an honest question because Lavinia knows everything, okay? In a PC, okay, when you have a processor, okay, do you typically just tape it to the wall or do you have it in a cooling solution, such as a very large heatsink, cooling gel, okay, right? Usually has those things, correct? I'm correct. Am I correct in assuming that processors and PCs usually have cooling solutions on them to start, correct? We can all say that's a yes, right? I'm waiting for her to say yes, that's correct. Because I want to be sure that everything that I'm saying is correct. Processors have cooling solutions. That's correct, right? Okay? Lavinia, you didn't answer my question. You got to answer my question. Do processors have cooling solutions like nice heat sinks and cooling gel and all of that? Do they have it? Yes or no? Okay? Is it a yes or no answer? All right? Well, she's not answering. The answer is yes. Okay? Now, do modern PCs have a series of fans inside of them to also cool off? Because when you run that PC at high end, like a game, it gets hot. Does it have a cooling solution? Right? The answer is yes. All modern PCs that you're going to run any kind of a game on have these things because things get hot when you do things with them. Okay? It's that simple. That PC over there is not meant to be a high-end gaming PC. It's not designed that way. If it were, it wouldn't be tiny. They wouldn't have made it small. Do you understand? If you want a gaming PC, you don't get a mini PC. That's the whole point. Okay? That's right. It does not have a dedicated graphics card. It has what's called onboard graphics, and onboard graphics are not good. Onboard graphics essentially are the bare minimum to run anything. So, could I play Elden Ring on it? I bet I could get it to boot Elden Ring. All right? Probably with like no lighting. Probably with like low graphical settings. Probably running at like 25 frames per second. You know? I could probably get it to boot it. And it would probably be delayed, by the way. It would probably lag up, have frame drops, be pretty much unplayable. But I could play Elden Ring on it. Oh, by the way, after 2 hours, the PC will be steaming fucking hot. Like, you can't even go near it. You probably put your hand, you're like, ah! Anyway. It's just crazy, you know. Whatever. I don't even know what the point is, too. Like, what is the point of arguing with me on this? Who is asking me to use that mini PC to play high-end PC games? Right? We already talked about this, right? That we were going to basically look into possibly upgrading or buying a new PC. We even got all the specs last year. We talked about it. It just didn't work out. Like, I totally wanted to do that. And it didn't happen because there was so much other shit going wrong financially and everything. You know, everything, every little thing keeps happening. Every time I think I have a little bit of money saved up, oh, here we go. This breaks. This goes wrong. This is like, fuck. But that's life, you know? That's life. And you deal with it. So, I made do this year. Upgraded my capture device. Upgraded my lighting. Split the processing load between the GPU and the CPU for encoding for the on-demand videos, but also the streams. So now, everything's improved this year, right? Even though I'm still using the same equipment, I'm optimizing the use of the equipment I have, and things are better. So I didn't have to go out and buy an expensive PC. I'm good, right? You know? It's piece by piece. I received a $2 tip. That CPU is what is considered a low-powered chip. It does not create as much heat as a normal CPU. They can be passively cooled. It shouldn't overheat, but I don't know the kind of passive cooling it uses, so take this with a grain of salt. Yeah, I don't know. You saw how small that thing is. It's really small. And I remember I said it looked like it had speakers on the side. Then I realized those aren't speakers. That's just the ventilation is just holes in the side. That looks like what you would normally have on a speaker, on a freaking boombox or something, right? I was like, oh, that's what that is. The Trinky S5 Mini PC. That's what it's called. See, and I said it looks like a speaker, but you know what that is? That's got to be the cooling. That's got to be how it actually cools itself, just by having openings on the sides like that. See? So there's no fan in there. There's no way there's a fan in this thing. Maybe there is. You think there's a fan in there? I don't think so. Really? People are saying it does have a fan? It does have an internal fan. Jeez, it'll be interesting to mess around with. So yeah, this is AMD Radeon graphics, but I don't know what, I don't know what the graphics are. It doesn't, you know, I won't know till I boot it up. We'll find out tomorrow. Like I said, I'll record all this stuff for you. Anyway. Okay. Say, like projects, but it's not a gaming PC. It's not meant to be a thing to play video, 3D modern games on or anything. It's basically one of those PCs that it's going to overheat, so you're not going to go too crazy with it if but as a little, standalone project thing, it's nice. Then, after talking about this on the podcast yesterday, I get a bunch of messages overnight, people saying, you've got it completely wrong. You have no idea. This actually is a gaming PC. And I'm like, huh? And they're like, yeah, so that people have now done research on the actual, this thing, because now they know the name of it and everything. And come to find out, it can play modern 3D games. Not well. Like, you could play them around mid to low settings. And yeah, you're not going to be pushing full 60 frames per second. But you can play decently, certain games. Like Spider12 literally just said, it can play games like Witcher 3, but you have to play it on low settings. You see? So it can play some modern games. I don't know if I would want to play Witcher 3 on low settings when I can just fucking play it on my PS5. You see what I mean? Like, why would I do that? It's kind of silly. I can just play it on a console. It's going to look a lot better, right? So, it's almost on par with Steam Deck from what people are telling me. It's like almost the equivalent of a Steam Deck. You're almost there, all right? Supposedly, this does have a fan in it, which blows me away. Don't ask me how the fan fits in that goddamn thing, but supposedly there's a fan in it. Okay? I guess we'll see. Again, I haven't hooked it up yet. That's what I'm doing tonight, all right? So apparently it does have some kind of a cooling solution, okay? So I guess we'll see when I hook it up tonight how it works, but here's my goal. All right. Lavinia has been spamming the stream chat, I shit you not, for an hour. Okay? Moderators have warned her to not do it, and she kept doing it anyway. So now it's time to address the very important comment from Lavinia. You ready for this? You want to address how you treated me like a dunce and replayed out your intro for me because I said exactly this to you about your mini PC. Well, we already addressed this, but I guess we'll do it again. So hold on a second, everyone. Let's have another special restarting of the podcast this morning, 2 days in a row for Lavinia, since she wants me to go back and readdress it. So here we go. All right, we're not going to do that because that's wasting everyone's time. But the point I just made is that today I have more information about the mini PC than I did yesterday. As you know, day over day, things change. That's called life. That's called gaining information and experience based on time and investment. And then you gain wisdom based on things you learn. From what I'm to understand, this PC is better than initially what I was told. Initially, I was told it wasn't so good. And then more people did research when I actually gave you the specs on it yesterday, or the full name of it yesterday, and said, no, actually, it's better than you thought. It's just under maybe the power of a Steam Deck, which is good. So I'm glad that it's better than I thought, all right? Listen to this. RG Beef says, you literally said yesterday AMD processors don't have cooling like Intel processors do. That's not true. That was 100% based on facts told me, or excuse me, information told me by viewers. Okay? That was told to me by viewers. And you have the right to dispute that and say that's not true. What I said was, if you have an AMD processor and an Intel processor and it's in a mini PC and there's no cooling, the AMD runs hotter. That's what I was told. But apparently this mini PC does have a fan. In which case, I guess, that's great then, right? It has a fan, so that means it's going to cool it down. It's not going to matter, right? Oh, excuse me. Ooh. Yes, that is correct. A lot of the things that I say are hearsay based on what people tell me. You're right, because I'm one person and you are many. I don't have infinite time to sit here and research every single possible thing that I say about everything. I don't. I base it on things that I hear from you guys, things I read on social media or news stories and stuff. You know, am I at Evo to know that the USB ports are melting? Should I have gone there, flown out there to confirm the reports, or could I just talk about it on my podcast today? Do you see? But you want to nitpick because you want to basically make me look like a villain or like an idiot, and I'm not. So enough of your bullshit. How about that? How about you hold me to the same human standards as every single other person who streams and stop acting like I'm supposed to be an infallible human who knows everything. I don't. I base it off of input I get every day. In fact, you know what I'm saying? So people, when I first got this 2 days ago, people were sending me information. Hey, here's what I think. Here's what, and I base what I talk about on my podcast based on what people are telling me. So then yesterday, some people are like, we don't think that information is correct. Can you give us the stats? So I did. I told you the actual stats on the box. Okay, people researched it overnight and now came at me overnight and actually left me comments and were like, no, actually, you don't even understand. That's actually way better than you think it is. You can play some 3D games and things on there. Again, not high settings. It should be fine. It shouldn't overheat. And I was like, oh, that's good to know. Because now maybe I could consider doing things that I wasn't thinking of doing, with this new information. That's cool, right? But you have to understand, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to have ultimate knowledge every day. Yesterday, we had people coming into the last third of the podcast asking me questions about things we answered in the first third. And it was over and over. Like, well, so what? Am I supposed to restart the show to tell you everything I already told you in the first third of the show? Like, it's ridiculous. Again, no one else is held to these kind of crazy standards, and no one else gets this kind of criticism. Only DarksydePhil, because people want to sit here in a toxic environment, all right? And they want to be rude to me on my own show where I'm just trying to entertain you every day, acting like this is some kind of a fucking scientific show about PCs or something. It's not. So, newsflash, this isn't Linus Tech Tips. This isn't Digital Foundry. This is DSP Gaming. I'm a 41-year-old guy who has very limited knowledge about this stuff, and I'm just winging it every day. It's time to stop being assholes. All right? Really. And if you want to live in that toxic asshole world, then stay off my streams, because I don't want you here. I don't want people coming and spamming my streams, demanding things for a fucking hour from me. Yes, perhaps you could have thought that yesterday I was being rude to you, Lavinia, but literally you sat here in the chat, spammed my fucking podcast, demanding my attention during the time that wasn't even Q&A. Fuck off and get banned and don't come back. You're an obnoxious individual and we don't want your kind around here. We want people who are actually here to have a good time and be chill. So fuck off and kiss my ass. Okay. Much better now, isn't it? Because now she's not spamming the chat anymore. Because, by the way, her name's not Lavinia. I know who that is. As always, these people who come by are just sock accounts of other people who have already been banned a million times. I know who that was. They've been here for months. Again, I'm being nice. I don't reban them. But then they look for opportunities like this to cause drama. And that's all it is. This is more drama bullshit. And I take care of it. And here we go. Now here are all the trolls. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so goodbye to you. So here we go. This is good. Who's next? Because now this is good. It's good to take the opportunity, all right, to clear the community of this toxic element every once in a while. It really is. Here's another one. Clear the air. Wipe the toxic right out, right? It's ridiculous. And by the way, notice how the regulars are actually very happy about this because now we don't have to listen to this bullshit anymore, right? It's like, why the fuck are we wasting time on this nonsense? Why on the... Oh, of course. SD Charger says they're just going to flood back in a couple of days. You're absolutely right because this is what they do. They come in with their sock accounts and they change all their names like I don't know who they are. And I'm very nice. I'm very nice to these people. I don't immediately reban them when they come back. That person in particular had been banned multiple times. This was like their 5th sock account. And I'm like, dude, all right, I'm going to be nice. And then they come in here with a know-it-all attitude yesterday. Oh, here's my opportunity. I finally got Phil in a gotcha moment because I'm researching his mini PC and it's better than he thinks it is. So here, let me come to the fucking podcast mad late in the last 20 minutes and tell him he's all wrong just to get him in a gotcha moment on his own show. To which case I'm like, no, I'm going to make fun of this because it's stupid. No one cares. I don't have the data. We'll have more data. I'm sure people will research it. So now, this person literally sat in chat, just so you guys don't watch it on demand because you have no idea. Since the moment I started the podcast this morning, we're running over an hour now. They have been spamming the chat. Oh, you would apologize to me because I'm right about your PC and you're wrong. And blah, blah, blah. What? And I'm not even kidding. I counted. It was about 40 times they spammed the chat with that message today. 40 times. So it's about once a minute. They spam the chat with a message. So I'm supposed to be serious about this? You know what I'm saying? You're out of your mind. And by the way, no, that wasn't a supporter. That's someone who's been gifted memberships 3 times in a row, and it's a sock account of a fucking troll. I know who it is. Like I said, I know all these people who are coming in and act like this. Normal people don't come to the streams and act like that. all right? That's someone, oh, it's all about me. It's not. It's my podcast, not yours, all right? Enough with the being completely unfair to me and trying to make it out like I'm a villain. And again, why did they do that? Why did they just spam my chat for 40 minutes with the same message? So that now there could be highlights of this podcast so the haters can talk about something today. Go fuck yourselves. Literally, lick the shit in my asshole. I don't care about any of you. You're all insignificant humans. None of you will ever do anything with your lives. Get fucked.